Anybody that thinks that the only deciding factor is whoever's closest should get it is an idiot. Walmart Spark does not want you to do this if you're a Spark driver. They do not want you hanging out too close to the store. They don't really want you in the parking lot at all. Let's talk about a new update that several of you sent me. I got an update. I'm not even active on the Spark app anymore. Haven't heard from them either, but that's a whole nother video. And I got the update. I got like a notification. I'll put that here. I'm going to tell you why they're doing this, the good and the bad, what you should know about what they're saying, and then I'm going to give a little perspective as to exactly why proximity and drivers and people getting orders quicker because they're closer is the dumbest thing I've ever heard anybody say in a gig economy. Welcome back to Mr.BetonYou. All right, so I'll put some split screens here. What Walmart is saying is, okay, there's going to be there's like a little zone, a pin location that if you're too close, they're telling you you're not going to get orders. Why are they doing this? Well, if you're a Spark driver, even if you're Instacart does something similar, but that's a whole other video. And you see the Costco people hanging out, but we'll keep it to Walmart Spark. When I would do it, I would see a lot of guys, sometimes like 10 to 15 different men or women hanging out in the parking lot. Literally with lawn chairs, barbecue pits, coolers. I am not joking. I am not exaggerating when I mention those three things. Those things I've seen with my eyeballs. And if you're in St. Louis and you've been to Shrewsbury, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm not mad at them for doing it. Hey, this is how the game's played. I want to be right there. I'm ready. Walmart doesn't want us hanging out in their parking lots. One, it could be a bad look. There's regular customers, some of the drivers even park in the spots that are designated for pickups for customers and Spark drivers, and they don't even have an order, but they're just already there. You can't do that, guys. So Walmart's saying no more. Listen, for all y'all that want to hang out, hey, hang out, but we're not going to send you orders if you're too close. They're telling drivers that right now. I think it's a great idea. I think it's great. We don't need to be loitering in parking lots like that. Now, if you're by yourself and you're chilling in your car, great. But what I've seen at multiple locations, and it happens in St. Louis, that means it's happening where you're at. And if you can give me some stories, let me know, right? What have you guys seen in the parking lots? Hanging out. Not doing anything bad necessarily, but just hanging out in parking lots, kind of loitering. Playing music loud in their car. It can be a distraction. Walmart doesn't want that from the Spark drivers. The app is telling you now, okay, via the notifications that I've seen, hey, listen, be a mile away or a little bit less, stay in this little radius, but don't go in the red zone. You're not going to get orders if the app recognizes you're too close. I think it's great. You guys tell me what you think before we continue. Let me know in the comment section. Pause the video. Let me know what you think about this update. Have you gotten it? How will you change or adapt strategy? Let me know in the comment section right now before we continue. For me, it makes sense, okay? Oh, that's a $51 order, but that's a lot of miles. It makes sense. Some people want proximity, whoever's closest to the location. And like I said, people are going to be fighting for parking spots, fighting to get close, standing at the door, maybe, because if you're so close to the restaurant or the merchant, whoever's closest gets it. It's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in my life. That's how we want to divvy up orders. It's stupid. And Walmart's saying, we don't want y'all close either. We don't want y'all too close, loitering, hanging out. No, it's dumb. Because if some people would get their way, that's what would happen. Everybody would just be hanging out. No, the orders need to filter in based on other factors. And sometimes, even with merchants, if you're too close, you're sitting there waiting 15, 20 minutes. Can anybody relate to that? It's okay to have to drive a couple miles. Walmart doesn't want you hanging out at their place of business waiting for orders like that. They're telling you that. Now, they can't force it on you, but they can put a little geo-fence around you and say, nope, if you're too close, you're not going to get anything. And that's going to make people go to the next parking lot over whatever, and it'll be what it is. I think this is a good update. For all the people that don't, let me know a reason why. Maybe I'm missing something. I'll say this, when I was doing Walmart, I would get orders from my home and have to drive 5 miles. I'd get orders from Walmarts that are 15, 20 miles away. I would get orders, and I would sit in the parking lot sometimes and wait. Sometimes it'd be 20, 30 minutes. And I was never hanging around where the other guys were, but I would find a spot and sit and wait. It's very common. And it sounds like you can still do it, but they don't want you in those parking spots, those curbside pickups, really close to the building, like all of them are. They don't want you there. They want those for people that have active deliveries, customers, and even maybe even like employees kind of park in that area, not in those spots, but close by. At my local spots, that's what those spots are for. So Walmart is telling you what you need to be doing in order to continue to see orders. I leave it up to you guys. What am I missing? What is Walmart missing? How will you change your strategy? How, will you just go to the next parking lot over? Will you do anything different? Will you turn it on from home now? I think there are some drivers that wait until they get there. No. When you're ready to work, turn all your apps on. You can get good orders from your house, and you don't need to be really close. And I'll end with this. Anybody that thinks that the only deciding factor is whoever's closest should get it is an idiot. I know those are harsh words, but the truth hurts. And Walmart's even telling you that.